Yo, 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 what is going on? Back out with the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. Number 6. 6 weeks we've been doing Cavs Encapsulated. We are so appreciative for you guys being here for this video for our weekly installment of Cavs basketball recap and a little look forward to the upcoming games. Today, Logan is getting all the praise for being 2-1. Go check out our last video if you haven't. He correctly predicted this 3-game stretch since the last time we've been with you. And since that time, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 2-1 on a 2-game winning streak, dropping the first game to Phoenix, which I think is going to be the most disappointing talk of the 3 because I believe we had a lead at halftime. Winning against the Magic, a game that I did not see 0 minutes of. I didn't see anything of it, so we're going to let Justin and Logan talk about that in detail. I know Justin was pretty hyped for that game, and we won easily. It seemed like we were winning the whole game, and then we just won. Similar to last night, which was a complete embarrassment of the Dallas Mavericks. I love seeing Mark Cuban courtside screaming to his coaching staff, whatever he's doing, because he's getting – the Cavs and the Mavs. I love it. You know, we are the better AVS squad. So let's just hop into this Phoenix game because I want to talk to Logan about something I just noticed in the stat sheet. Dean Wade with an absolute stinker in this game, 16 minutes, no points, no assists, and no rebounds. Logan, what was the turning factor in this game, and how did we blow a halftime lead?
How did we blow a halftime lead? Well, I mean, first of all, it doesn't help when officials aren't on your side. I'm not going to blame all of that, though. My friend Chris is actually at the game, and he said he's never heard a more pissed off Cleveland crowd. And I'm like, Cleveland? You mean like the city that owns the Browns, or that contains the Browns within inside of you? Heard a more pissed off crowd than that? He's like, honestly, I don't think so. Few calls didn't go our way, and honestly, I think more than that, I think the calls got to us. Yeah, those calls happen in the moment, but I think a lot of the Cavaliers started getting a little bit flustered, which is something we weren't used to seeing. At the end of the day, the Suns have some all-stars. I think the Cavaliers, they also moved the ball a lot better in that first half. I think in the third quarter, they got away from it a little bit, did a little bit too much one-on-one overall. But at the end of the day, the Suns have the all-stars. The Suns have the experience. The Suns had, at the time, a 13-game winning streak. I think that's still going on right now. I think it's up to about 16. When you ride all that momentum into Cleveland, I mean, it's hard to contain that kind of team. For 48 minutes, I should say.
Yes,
if you're trying to get to the point of what happened in the second half, I think more than anything, the Suns just made the right adjustments.
What was disappointing about this game to me is that we had individual performances that in other games this year, we have suggested that we would win the game. Allen with 25, Garland with 19, Rubio with 15, and Osman with 23. And we lose. So when you get that type of bench firepower, we're usually winning those games. Even Kevin Love with 14 in this game. Justin, how did you feel about, you're a big defensive guy. You actually enjoy watching. It's weird to say, but it's actually very fun to watch the Cavs play defense this year. It's something that is just not a thing in the NBA where defense is fun to watch outside of the Cavs, I feel like, and that's why they've played it so well. But another game where we kind of get hero balled by Devin Booker. He has 35 and Ayton has Chris Paul's the next highest was 17. So what were you seeing defensively for us to give up a high total with 120 points?
Well, you talked about, I saw some of the tweets that you made last night, Jeff, about, Luka Doncic, absolutely a player that can go play hero ball. However, the team around him, just awful. You can allow guys to drop 35 and 40 if they're the only ones doing it. However, when you have guys like DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul as other all-star players, it's hard to allow 35 points and then allow everyone else to score just as much as they want and just as much as they need in order to win this game. Obviously not one of our better defensive performances, letting up 120 points. And again, we're losing the rebounding category in this one, but I was very upset with the officiating in this one. Obviously, I've been upset with the officiating with Garland not getting calls to now Garland getting calls, but on the opposite end of the court to the point where he's getting 2 back-to-back calls. And then, even the calls at the end of the game are just so absurd where, guys are straight up or they're side to side and they're getting called for these fouls that are just ridiculous. And Garland has to leave this game early. It's really upsetting. And
Yeah, he fouled out of this game. Forgot
Yeah.
about that. No, you're right though. Not to cut you off, but I don't care
Absolutely.
I don't care if you are bad or good at officiating. But the issue that you were alluding to there, which is 100% correct, is that some of these official crews, the inconsistencies are annoying because they will call something for 3 and they'll call something the same until 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then they'll call something they were not calling for the whole game, or vice versa. The inconsistency is wild.
They get totally frazzled when it's clutch time, when it's close time, and you can't do that as an official. You have to be steady hand the whole way.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I had to watch Ricky Rubio be the person get the ball with like the last 10 seconds or whatever. However many times we went to the foul line and watch Ricky just miss free throws at the end of the game, whereas if it was Garland, I feel like those would have been makes like I've been wanting at the end of the game. But just in terms of the Garland talk for me, because I always got to talk about my boy. Really happy that Chris Paul's over there talking to him when he fouls out and, giving him some advice and all that. Cause I feel like I had said in a previous video, beginning to garner a lot of respect from other players. I think that we've seen through even through that losing stretch, I think KD was pretty optimistic about how Garland's outlook looks. And just, it's unfortunate that this game was as badly officiated as it was.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
sorry,
Logan.
Jeff. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you're
I want
good.
to kind of also touch on that, Justin. I mean, LeBron James himself said that these Cavaliers have a bright future, shortly. You can tell a lot of these stars of today certainly have a lot of respect, and certainly, more than anything, they see promise in the Cavaliers, and they see, this young stud could really be good one day. I'd like to give him some advice. So I just want to kind of throw that in there, Justin. We've seen that it's kind of been a theme this year. Some of the best teams, some of the best players, certainly giving the Cavaliers their due.
Yeah, that's something we did not see last year. And through what are we 11 and 10 through 21 games, I think the definitive one item that we could complain about, outside of some times when maybe we're a little sloppy with the ball and we have these couple minutes where the offense just looks lost sometimes, that was due to injuries mostly, I feel like. But through 21 games, the free throw shooting outside of Darius Garland really is an issue that needs to be worked on. We lose this Suns game by 5. We miss 8 free throws. So 68% from the line. But we're at the point where the year over year difference in optimism, and maybe we just didn't follow the team as closely last year because they were not as good, of course. But a year ago, this was the Suns were on a 13 game winning streak. And we're sitting there basically expecting to beat them at home. And we're disappointed when we blow a halftime lead. Right. When a year ago, I don't like moral victories as much as the next guy, but a year ago, this team, that we might have had the game turned off at halftime because we were down 20 or 30. We had a lead in this game. So it's promising seeing the huge leaps that we're taking from last year. And I'm going to go straight over to Justin because this 105-92 Magic victory, I did not watch any of. I will admit it. I was completely tied up that night. So, Justin, give us a rundown of this game. What did you like? How did you feel? And how nice is it that we just handle these bad NBA teams, Magic at 4-17? I kind of feel bad, but also I really don't.
Just like a point that Logan was making in our earlier videos that, if you're going to be a good basketball team, and this goes for any professional sports team in general, if you're going to be one of those good teams, one of those playoff teams, you have to beat the teams you should beat. The Orlando Magic sitting at 4-17, the Cleveland Cavaliers sitting 10-10. You got to beat these teams. And like you said, we just handled business. I never felt like this game was in doubt of us winning. I believe we held the lead the entirety through. And I just never felt like there was going to be an opportunity for the Magic to come back into this game. And for me, obviously, still talking about my boy, Garland. It was just the Garland show in the Magic game. 26 points, 11 assists. Lauri Markkanen, 20 points, was, shooting the lights out. The dude we got to talk about Markkanen a little bit more because the way he gets his shots up, he's 7 foot. And he's almost like to the point of a Kevin Durant, except he doesn't dribble and pull up. But he
does get the ball and just fire it, though.
Yeah, he just straight up pulls up, and he knows he's taller than everyone. So it's not like it's a tough task for him to get shots up over people. but just a really well, we needed this game. We're on a 4-game losing streak. We needed to win this game. We go to Orlando. We get this win. We move on, and now we go on to the Dallas game. But first, I'll let Logan talk a little bit more.
Yeah, you talk about a Magic team that's 4-17, also down Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, and Jonathan Isaac. Yes, you only win by 13 points, but in today's NBA, it really doesn't matter because it can beat anybody. I mean, maybe not when it counts, maybe not when it matters, but there's always competitive teams throughout the regular season. Magic put up a good effort, but I think more than anything, the Cavaliers are kind of just adjusting to Evan Mobley getting back into the swing of things in that first half. Certainly looked a little bit uncomfortable in the early going, trying to figure it all out. Come that third quarter, though, and it's kind of been a theme throughout this year for the Cavaliers. They've played very well in period number 3. I mean, I don't know what kind of halftime adjustments they've been making. You know, that's not true with every game, obviously, but especially in the games that we've had to win, I feel like we come out with a different, attitude in that third quarter and really start spraying the ball over the place. Mobley starts getting some touches going. Markkanen starts knocking down some shots. Garland obviously leading the team as he always does, whether he's distributing or scoring. A lot to like in that Magic game. It's just one of those conveniently placed W's right where you needed it. I mean, I don't think we could afford to go much, to bleed much more. I think we really needed to stop that bleeding and turn the season around a little bit. And obviously, the momentum of a W can always carry into the next one, and that's when we get into Dallas here.
Just a pleasant surprise. Evan Mobley misses a week, and then it's basically right where he left off in this game, 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. But Darius Garland I think this is the second or third game this year where he goes 26 points, 11 assists. It's becoming his signature stat line. And if you really think about it, we have scored 105 points. He has 26 points and 11 assists. He's accounting for a vast majority of our points in some games, not a vast majority, but maybe 35, 40% of the offense runs through Darius Garland, which we knew that's what he was going to have to do with Colin Sexton being hurt. And we knew coming into this year, that's the player he could be. But what I really liked about this game is a nice bounce back defensively. Obviously, the Suns had a lot more firepower, but giving up 120 the game before, come in, hold the opponent under 100 points, which is exactly what we did last night in an absolute barn burner of a game. Probably, I feel like this is the third or fourth time this year where I am saying that this is the most fun I've had watching the Cavs team since whenever, 2017, 2018. So 114-96 victory in a game where, and this is why I want to go to Logan first, because he gave respect before the game, in the middle of the game, and everywhere to Luka Doncic, rightfully so, because that kid is 23 years old and he's future MVP. He might be a walking Hall of Famer the way that kid plays. But a game where Luka is 7 for 11 from threes, I believe. We give up 96 points and we win by, the game was never in doubt again. So Logan, what were you seeing last night really shutting down the rest of the Mavs outside of Luka?
Yeah, we, like you just said, Jeff, we let Luka hurt us more than anything. Maybe we didn't always let him. Sometimes he just hurt us because he's that good. But you shut down their second option first. That's where it starts with. Kristaps Porzingis, he could not get anything going against Evan Mobley. Maybe early in that game, he got that dunk over Jared Allen and was kind of feeling himself, and then started taking these step back long twos that simply weren't working. The Cavaliers defense really, really adjusted well. The Mavericks also missed a lot of open shots that, it's evident in their field goal percentage. I think it was around 36% at halftime. I'm not sure where they finished overall on the game, but really, I mean, it was just so much fun to watch because Darius Garland, you talk about him, I think since Sexton went down, I think I saw a stat in the last 10 games averaging like 20 and 9 or something like that, and his efficiency is off the charts. Lauri Markkanen in the last 3 games since returning, I think he's averaging somewhere around 19 points, 7 or 8 rebounds, and he wasn't shooting well to start the season. I'm pretty sure he jumped up to about 48% for his field goal percentage. And I think all of those factors, all these guys finally coming back together, Kevin Love having a pretty good day off the bench as well. You factor in Jared Allen having a career high 28 points, and I think it was 28 points and 16 rebounds, something like that, 15 rebounds, 14.
Yeah.
In that general vicinity, yeah. I mean, it's another one of those 48-minute wins that win over the Dallas Mavericks. We've alluded to those. We've pretty much had a 48-minute win for the most part in every video except for our last one where we go 0-3. Every step that we're seeing with this Cavaliers team, getting a win over a playoff team last year, beating a team that has a generational talent, Luka Doncic, just a lot to like. And that 114-96 final score, a lot closer than that game was. Cavaliers led by as many as 30,
Right.
really controlled most of that game.
Going into enemy territory, this team was the fourth or fifth seed in the West, I believe, before last night's game. So absolutely bullying them is a great sign. And this episode has been basically Justin talking about Darius Garland, but I'm going to keep it going with him because it's really what he does best, because that's the player he watches the closest, who he watches their game the most. But if I told you that Darius Garland, after what he did in the Magic performance, was our third leading scorer last night, there's no way I would have thought that we would have been up by 30, but that's just how versatile this team is. The 9 assists still coming through. And start your segment off, Justin, with, is there easier points in basketball? Have you ever seen easier points besides Darius Garland keeping his dribble in the lane and throwing a lob to Jarrett Allen? I have never seen anything easier.
No. It's a thing of beauty. It's truly a thing of beauty. And the thing I wanted to get to with this Mavericks game, I only watched the first quarter, and then I was dozing off. I was real tired. I fell asleep. But the point with this game, and you could see it in the first quarter, was Luka Doncic comes down, shoots a 3-ball. All right. We go back. Garland gets us started with an assist to Allen. We answer back. Come back down. Mavericks score again. We go back. We score again. And we start to get these little possessions where we're starting to up our defense a little bit. Our defense is starting to respond, starting to get on guys a little bit better. And then we just start to take over. Sure, the Dallas Mavericks had a lead for a little bit in that first quarter. But if you really watched it, if you really watched the Cavs take control of that game, obviously I fell asleep for the last half of it. But, you could tell that it was evident that we had a better team. You watch Kristaps Porzingis just take whack shots, just absolutely whack shots. He thought he was Laurie Markin, and he wasn't.
Luka
Doncic was doing his best Devin Booker to try to hero ball. But at the end of the day, we're showing that the NBA with this Cleveland Cavaliers team, that you can't really sustain hero ball for too long. It won't last you. It won't be the success of your team. It won't be the leading factor of you winning a championship. And kind of like the Phoenix Suns last year, making that playoff push, they're a very well compensated team in terms of what they can do, who they can rely on, who they can go to. And I think we're starting to develop a little bit of that kind of, identity with this team. And I think it starts with Garland, but like you said, Jeff, it's so easy to beat Jarrett Allen in this offense with Darius Garland and other facilitators. It's just phenomenal to watch. I think those two in particular work, and individually they're just so good.
Another bit I wanted to add, Jeff, real quick. That defense last night for the Cavaliers, scrambling everywhere, constantly, getting a hand up, even just rotating over to the open shooter, picking up, doubling Luka Doncic in moments. I think the Mavericks shot 4 of 22 from downtown in that first half. They kept jacking them up there, but the Cavaliers were to the task, constantly getting there, getting up and getting in their airspace. And the Cavaliers played to their strengths. They didn't jack up a bunch of triples in that first half. Once they got it going, Laurie Markkinen starts knocking them down. Garland starts getting them going. Kevin Love even a couple. I mean, then they started really finding their game. And Austin Carr preaches it every Cavaliers game. Start inside, work your way outside. Sometimes I can't understand a word that comes out of Austin Carr's mouth every now and then. I mean, he gets so excited. And God, he's a Cavalier legend. I love him.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing that's always come through to me, I guess, this season is start inside, especially with Mobley and Allen and Garland getting downhill. And then if those shots are there, then you start switching it up, because guess what? Teams aren't going to be able to respond to that when you're able to switch up your offense so often in a 48-minute game.
I just love that kind of fact about the Cavs, where you don't know who's going to give it to you in one night. One night it can be Garland dropping 26. The next night it can be Allen dropping 28. And we all know what Allen can and cannot do. He's not out there shooting the 3-ball. He's just in the paint doing work. He's putting in the work, and it's just amazing. And then obviously you got role players who we've been talking about it nonstop. We have role players who are starting to live up to their kind of, aspect of what they do well. Lauri Markkanen being a really good 3-point shooter. Kevin Love coming off the bench, finally finding his role on this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and Cedi Osman, who unfortunately he's been dealing with a little bit of like a back spasm issue. He comes in and every other night, he drops 20 points, and Ricky Rubio will drop 20 points. It's just a phenomenal thing that, if one player is not feeling it for a night, someone else can pick up the slack a little bit, or two players can pick up the slack a little bit, and this team just rolls. And to pick up a win against this Dallas Mavericks team, which Jeff was alluding to, a playoff team last year, a very good team this year. We have a stretch of games, these next 4 games before we talk again, that we're really, really going to need to, see what this team is made out of. And hopefully it's a lot of what they were made out of last night.
We shoot 56% from the field, and we shoot a game where Cedi Osman does not play. As you said, Justin, we shoot 10 of 19 from 3 for 52%. A game where Luka has the most inconsequential triple-double, 25, 10, and 10. They don't even score 100 points. They lose by, they were down by 30 at one point. And you really saw it transpire in the second half of that game. Luka's the only person doing anything. He starts getting frustrated. He was checked out in that game, even with the triple-double in the fourth quarter. So you're not going to beat the Cavs if we're shooting that well. If Isaac Okoro hits a couple threes, you're not going to beat us, basically, if we're shooting 10 for 19 from 3-point range. But as Justin said, those are the 3 games that we just had. 2 quality, I would say everyone's a quality win with this schedule, but 2 quality wins, a good game against Phoenix, and we're going to keep the tradition going really quickly here. We have 4 games before we talk again at Miami tomorrow, at Washington. We get to see the Wizards again Friday, December the 3rd. We're at home against the Jazz on Sunday, and then we're on the road in Milwaukee Monday. Yeah. So I'm keeping my expectations middle of the road, but I think we're gonna I want to say we keep this winning streak going, but I'm excited for this Miami game because their defensive ratings are off the chart as well in this early season, as is ours. It might be like this old school basketball. It might be like 75 to 73 or something, the way these two defenses play. I'm going to say we lose on the road, Miami. Sad. I think we're going to beat the Wizards. We're going to get payback on the Wizards. They have only, declined, I think, since we've seen them. So I think we're going to be 1-1. I'm going to say we lose to the Jazz, and then I'm going to say we beat Milwaukee on the road. I really want to see us beat Milwaukee. So I'm going to go that route. I'm going to say we're 2-2 the next time we meet. Justin, prediction.
Jeff and I have learned from our prediction videos, not doing so well this season with the
if we win 2 games though, that'll be a good stretch, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm really happy that you picked the Bucks game over the Jazz game, because I'm essentially going the same route with you. I think we lose the Heat game. I say we get our revenge on the Wizards from earlier on this season. And then when I say we beat the Jazz at home, I really want to beat the Jazz. I really want to go to this game. Honestly, Donovan Mitchell, a superstar, just like the guys we've talked about, Devin Booker and Luka Doncic. This is a Jazz team that I think is very good, along with these other teams. And then, man, does my heart really want to say we win that Bucks game? But I'm gonna be realistic for once, and I'm gonna go 2-2. We lose to the Bucks, but still sitting above 500 at the end of that 4-game road stretch.
Yeah, guys, unless I missed a game or two, I'm pretty sure, and I'm honestly not kidding when I say this, I don't think we've beaten Miami at Miami since 2009. I don't even think I'm kidding.
Yep.
I think it was when LeBron was there, and then obviously LeBron kicked our behinds for 4 years.
We never got revenge when LeBron came back. I know,
and LeBron never won
we
once.
We do suck down there. It's kind of weird.
Something about South Beach, we just really hate it. So I'm going L there. W over the Wizards. I think it's going to be a really, really, good win for this ball club. First of all, getting that revenge and it being on the road. Then I'm going win against Utah. I think we've had some success against Utah at home in the past. Not that it really matters, but I think it's just something to think about. Kind of have to hold Donovan Mitchell in check also, though, because he really likes playing the Cavaliers, and he's a terrific player. And at Milwaukee I could really go heads or tails on this one, but I think I'm going to take the loss. I think we'll go 2-2 in that stretch. So I'm going LWWL for the Cavaliers in the next 4 games, and sitting 13-12 next time we speak.
Looks like I'm on the good side of the predictions, Jeff.
Well, I think that's the sentiment though. If we could go 2-2, if we could be 13-12 through the first 25 games of this schedule, which is something that we did not talk about preseason, how terrible this schedule has been. I mean, I hope it's backloaded with some easy wins because we got absolutely, I mean, the East really is just that good though. So if you're going to be a contender, you got to play with the big dogs. And I think we've shown that through the first, 20 games of the year. Anything else, guys? We're all good.
I just want to make a quick point with these next 4 games. Within the 4 games, I think the Heat and the Jazz game, I'm obviously didn't talk about him too much, but Okoro finding his like mojo back on defense with guarding the best player available. Obviously, some of these games, you're not going to have him guard Giannis because he's a little bit too much bigger than him. But, with a Donovan Mitchell and a Jimmy Buckets, I think we need to see him get on those guys a little bit more than he has in these past couple games.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, I'm under the weather right now, guys. The Cavaliers are over 500, so I know I'm happy about that. But I think these next 4 games keep the defensive identity.
Yep.
I think every now and then we're going to have a bad shooting game. It's just going to happen. But if you can keep teams around that 95 number, I think you got a shot in pretty much any game. So Cavaliers, have been tremendous, have exceeded expectations this year, and maybe it wasn't clear last podcast. Cavaliers do have an identity, folks. They absolutely have an identity, but it's harder to show that identity and have it every game when you don't have the players that are there. Players are coming back now, and you could see it last night in Dallas. There it was, the Cavaliers, that competitive team that is coming out, head down, ready to finish you off. I mean, they're coming out ready to battle. They're going to constantly win the defensive battle, and they're going to, move that ball around and really make things happen. Now get back to that identity the next 4 games, having most of your guys back, really, really show what this team is capable of. I think they can do just that.
Shrum Media, we know we're talking. Logan's talking to you. Honestly, comment every video. Just say Logan has
Please
no
do.
idea. Logan has no idea what he's
understand.
talking about. That only puts us in the algorithm more.
I understand why he was upset. I get that.
That's why people are like,
"Oh,
I'm gonna dislike." Like, okay, it still helps the algorithm. So throw the dislikes. Throw the comments, if you're a Mavs fan, please comment, if you want to come on the show, if you're a fan of another team and want to come on,
Ooh, that would be fun.
Hit our Twitter, hit our Gmail, do everything, hit us in the comments. But we really appreciate you guys. If you made it this long, it's Cavs Encapsulated, number 6. It's your Tuesday crew. It's Jeff, it's Justin, it's Logan. And slap that notification bell to make sure that you never miss a video. Share with all your Cavs friends. I know you have Cavs friends who are not watching us, but they should be. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.